Hey there, it's Crafty Jennabug. In this video, I'm going to make some leaves out of various different materials for decorating my September junk journal. So if you want to see how I did that, keep watching. Here I have a coffee filter that I dyed during a library craft with washable markers and sprayed with water. And then I added some mica sprays and distress oxide sprays in fall colors to it. And then I dried it really well and will be cutting out leaf shapes using the die cuts. Here's one of the two die cuts I used, the Sizzix Leaves number 2 and Sizzix Leaves. I folded the coffee filter in half just so that I would get a little bit more impressions with this beautiful coffee filter. And that way I'm not wasting any of it because it's so beautiful. I've cut them out and let's see how they turned out. I did have to struggle a little bit to separate the different layers, but look at how gorgeous they are. If the camera will ever focus. There we go. They're so pretty. I love all the different little details on these leaves. They are thin because coffee filter, but I think they're going to add a nice little pop in the junk journal. So cute. Next, I want to try embossing some of these little cardstock pieces that I have cut out. This stamp is a Hero Arts stamp, 6x6, and it is the Jungle Bold Prints stamp. I'm just going to use an embossing ink pad and spread the embossing ink all over the stamp. And then I cut this little piece of cardstock, which I've decided to use another piece. I cut them to fit the inside of the Sizzix die cuts where it should be able to get all of the leaves at once. And there you can see a little bit. This is the Ranger embossing glaze in aged mahogany, and this was my first time trying out the glazes. I have a few of the embossing powders, but not any of the glazes before this one. I really like them. They tend to stay transparent, whereas the regular embossing powders are less so. And that really allows whatever is underneath to show through. I mean, in this case, there's no pattern underneath it, but oh, look at that, so gorgeous. And then I just got to clean up my embossing powder. There we go. Now I'm going to just hit this with the embossing heat tool, little tweezers there for stability, and we'll see how it looks when it's done. I really love how this turned out. It's quite subtle, but it's gorgeous. I can't wait to make leaves. Here I have a new Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous stamp. Shattered is the name of this one. It came out with his most recent Halloween release. Again, we're going to do some embossing. I was just sizing up the little sheet, seeing how much I need to do. I'm going to try this Distress Embossing Dabber. It's just another way to apply the embossing ink. I'm not a huge fan of it. It doesn't quite apply as much. embossing liquid as the ink pad does. I wanted to try it out though, so when I got some of these, my most recent Ranger purchase, I got it as well. Because I hear other crafters raving about it. Maybe I'm using it improperly, I don't know. But it just doesn't seem like enough of the liquid comes out, which can result in a not as ideal transfer. I mean, if you're wanting something that doesn't have the complete image transferred when you're embossing, like if you're going for a really grunge look, like it wouldn't really matter using a stamp like this. But if you're trying to get a really clean transfer, I'm struggling with that. So if you have any suggestions, any techniques that I can try, let me know. Here we go. You can barely see what I've got going on there. I'm going to use more of that aged mahogany glaze, and we'll see how it looks. Absolutely gorgeous. I love how this turned out. It's probably one of my favorites. Here I'm going to use the embossing ink pad again and try a different part of that awesome new stamp. This time I'm using the red card, and I'm going to use that yellow embossing powder that you see right there on screen. I believe it is Buttercup. Yeah, Buttercup. This one was my least favorite out of all of these. It's quite the contrast. All right, gonna use the center part of this stamp now with some more red cardstock, and gonna try a different embossing powder. This one is copper tinsel, so maybe it'll have a metallic effect. Fingers crossed. This one was a lot of fun to watch change with the heat. So shiny, so pretty. I really love this new stamp. Here we go with my Cuttlebug die cutting machine. Just gonna feed it through. Trying to figure out how to get it all in frame. There we go. Look at how pretty that is. I love them. So gorgeous. Here I am just punching out the rest of these. That one was the leaves, the Sizzix die versus leaves number 2. There we have it. Here are all of the leaves that I made in this video. My favorites still are the coffee filters, and my least favorite being the yellow embossing powder on the red. I think I should have / could have used a different color paper. Anywho, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've been inspired to make some leaves out of things you have around the house. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.